Hey, Kowalsky here, and welcome back to another video. Now in this video, I played another training game as I did a few days ago, as usual, if something very nice comes out of it, I'm gonna make a video about it. Now going to the game, I'm actually playing with the black pieces, and this time it's not 15 plus 10. I was kind of lazy today, so I played a 10 plus 5. Still a rapid game though, and still a very nice game. Now, the title is what it is because it is what it is. So let's see how I managed to get myself into that situation, winning a game, from a queen down, basically. Now, what you have to understand about these games that you win, with a material deficit, you have to understand about them that you have to get somehow lucky, but not lucky in a sense that your opponent essentially blunders pieces or things like that. That also counts. By the way, you recognize the variation. I hope you recognize the variation. At this point, I'm not going to repeat myself about this. Again, this is one of my favorite lines, 95, and here he plays a stupidity. But just like in another game that I played, an opponent played this move. And here I forgot to take the knight, and here he played bishop c4, and yet again I forgot to take his bishop, just like that. So I took his other bishop, and I trapped my queen. I trapped my queen. He didn't do anything. I trapped my queen. Coming back to, okay, I give him a check. I take. Now I get my knight out. He takes my knight. Now I'm down 2 points of material, and he is also coming in and attacking my pawn. So this position is like +8 for white. I play e6. Like there is a dose of luck involved with all of this, with winning a game, but at the same time you can also play very provocative moves and moves that are challenging for your opponent in a way that he might screw up. So let's see how I managed to make him screw up. So we have knight f3 by white, and we have bishop e7 now, kind of restricting knight g5 because I didn't want to give him knight g5. Also, I wanted to castle, and here he played d5, and I'm like, what can I do? I could probably play d6, but I cannot play d6 because he just takes. I just castled, right? I could have probably played b6. But I don't know, I didn't like d6 anyway, so I just wanted to castle and get out of here. So I played bishop f6. Here he played knight b to d4, which is a good move now, eyeing that knight. So I played b6 and he took. Now here I thought during the game maybe I should play this move, knight c5 first, queen a3, now b6. But what I didn't like about this position is that he still had his bishop, and so here I thought that he could just play a move like maybe knight b3, and let's say knight takes, if queen takes, then bishop b7, and then a move like, let's say, rook e1. Now he has a lot of pressure here, also a passed pawn, and I didn't really see how I could have gotten any counterplay, right? Because objectively maybe it would have been the best thing, but practically speaking, right, you have to find a solution to range your pieces. So he attacks my bishop. Obviously I go back here. If I go back to c8, then I sack a pawn basically. So now I'm down 3 points of material, but also a very important aspect when you're playing and you're down material is the time. So you see, I have almost doubled my opponent's time here, and so after he spends about a minute on this knight c6 move, now I just take the pawn, and I'm trying to just get an outside passed pawn and just push it. Now what just happened here, a quick rewind, I took the pawn, and then here he got his rook to support his pawn. After bishop d5, now he got in with the knight to attack my bishop. Here you don't really want to take, because again, practically speaking, this is almost lost. Like here even rook takes d5 right away, and just knight e5 for example, and you're dead. Like zero counterplay. You want to push the pawn, you're too slow. Just knight g4, knight f6, and that's it. You go, I don't even know, you move the rook, let's say, maybe to not get checked, but now you lose the pawn. This is coming, and it's all over. I mean this. So knight e7 check, I go king g7, right? And you know, you're gonna say, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is essentially that my bishop guards the queening square now, and that now I do have enough time to push the pawn. So I go a5, because my bishop here not only guards the queening square, but it guards the knight's entrance square to my position. So after a5, here, if he would have played queen a4, then maybe I would have just been dead. Because, you know, there's no more pawn to push, and it's not like I can just play b5, because he's not forced to go queen b5, he can just go rook b5, and then I'm dead. Probably I would have played a move like rook d8 and tried my best here, but this is almost lost. But he played queen b5, now giving me the chance to go a4. And here, you know, the computer suggests just, okay, maybe queen c4, maybe queen b1, just going back, guarding against the pawn. But my opponent got a little bit greedy here. He took a pawn. Now he's still winning, obviously, because he's up a queen for a rook. But I pushed again. And here is where he screws up completely. That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, you have to get lucky, but at the same time, you have to create some sort of counterplay. So here, if you play a move like rook d1 and I play a2, here you can just go knight d2, and that's it. I make a queen, you take, I take, but now you go c4, and now you have two connected passed pawns that are gonna be pushed, and it doesn't matter that material is equal for now, I'm still losing. But what he did instead is that he calculated that he can go knight d2 right away, but spoiler alert, you cannot. So I played a2, and now it's a draw. Okay, he played knight b3, and I played rook f to b8, now attacking his queen. And here I thought that he had to go queen c6, which in fact the computer supports me. Stockfish is saying that I'm right, and why this move has to be played is for the following reason. Is because he played in the game rook b5, which is a very stupid, idiotic move, because now I just took the queen and now I'm winning because I'm up a piece. But if he goes for example, for something like, I don't even know, like let's say rook c5, now I just take the knight. And once you take, for example, I just make a queen and that's it. If you push the pawn, you're not fast enough. I just go back, for example, queen e1. And first of all, you cannot promote, and now you are the one that's down material. Maybe he could have saved this somehow, but again, I had about like 8 minutes here. Oh, sorry, not 8, but 7 minutes, and he had 17 seconds. So I cannot really explain this move, rook b5. I mean, to me, queen c6 came very, very natural. Okay, I guess he had 13 seconds, but still, queen c6, because now I cannot take anymore, because now just queen takes a8. Here I would have had to go rook c8, for example, and now queen b5, and okay, you slowly, again, if you try to go here, again, the same thing, and now you repeat moves. But instead we got rook b5, which is stupid, and now, I mean, now I'm just up a piece. He goes c4, I go rook c1, and he goes d7. Now, I just have to drop the bishop back so that he doesn't take it, and promotes the queen, and then I'm winning. But obviously, with 7 minutes on the clock, I began to feel too confident. Then I took the pawn without even thinking about it. And then he took my bishop, and then I was sitting there like, oh my god. What did I do? Now it's a draw. And I win his pawn, obviously. But now, I mean, he has to just defend, right? To create a blockade, create a setup, maybe trade some pawns advantageously. And, you know, try to hold this. Now he goes h4, which is a nice move, stopping g5 and any further advancement. Rook d4 now kind of attacking the pawn, cutting him off a little bit, but not really, because I just went back. Now I wanted to play f7 without his rook being on the 7th rank. He played rook b5, stopping g5, and here the process in my mind was like, okay, let's get the king back, and now let's play this waiting move. Now here, if rook b6, for example, was played, I was intending to go king g7, rook b7, I go king g8. If rook back, then I just go here, and now if check, I block with the rook. But apparently this is a draw anyways with king f3 because his king is active enough, and once I get here he just gets the opposition, and check doesn't matter because I cannot go in. Oops, this is losing, but king c4 is not because he guards my entrance squares, and that's it. But I know that was the idea. Apparently it doesn't work, but just so that you know. But I gave him another check here because he went rook c5. He didn't go rook b7, and here, you know, I just attacked his pawn, right? He defended, and now I just went back rook h1. Now apparently f5 is just the best way to draw this, because now after rook g1 check, for example king f3 or king h3, I mean, if this happens, now he can even give this pawn up, and this is technically a draw with the f and h pawns. Or he could instead go king g3, and if I go g5, right, he can just take, and then again this is a draw. Or if he goes for example rook c6, then it's still a draw, because like g takes h4, now king g2, let's say rook d1, but now he takes, and now it's basically one pawn against one pawn, because these cannot count as two pawns. They're way too bad. So in today's endgame lesson, we learned that knowing your structures and how you can draw this is very important. But here he played rook d5, which is not a bad move, but king f2 completely kills the position. Why? Well, because he relinquishes control over these two squares, and now rook g4 just wins the game. This is very important, and this all ties into how I played the whole match. Look at the clock situation, right? So I played really fast, and now he's in big trouble. He plays f5, and now all I have to do is go rook f4 and simply rook takes f5, and then I'm winning, because, you know, if this trade happens and he goes here, now he's in Zugzwang. Like king g3 doesn't matter, king f7, and again he's in Zugzwang. He's in Zug. If he tries to be smart or anything, I mean, I can still go back, and even if he takes this, I mean, now he's still in Zugzwang. Like, he cannot do anything. I'm up just too many pawns. But instead of that, I play g5, and now it's again a draw. He takes, and I take with the king, and I get this following position, which I previously said it is a draw, but only with perfect play. So here he has a lot of options that are drawing. He plays one of them. Here I go for rook a5, just trying to get some checks, push the king back, and I get f4, and now I get to push the king back. Here apparently f4 check completely wins the game on the spot, because after a move like king f3, rook a3, king g2, I get king g4, and rook d8 doesn't matter anymore because he is already on the back rank. That's how it seems like. That's literally how it seems like, and then I'm able to check him out of there and get my pawn fast through. But here, instead of that, I played a check, and now I went f4. But now we somehow transposed into a position that happened like that, and now just I just have to deliver a few checks. But here I messed this up. Like, you're not really supposed to, you know, block your rook with a pawn. Here I was supposed to play rook a3 and then f3 check, but I got too hasty, and now he managed to kind of get back a little bit. Here I made the final big mistake, and my calculation was correct, but I missed something. So I misevaluated here after king h2, rook h3 check, king g1. I didn't want to do this, because here apparently rook g3, king h2, you have to play the move king h5, and now you're winning. But this is, I mean, this is very impossible to play, because here what you create, or this is a draw actually. No, it's a draw. Apparently king g6 is winning. Oh, okay, because you're, okay. Yeah, I mean, this was very complicated, and I had time to think about it, don't get me wrong. I maybe should have found that. But then again, I got too hasty, and I went for this plan. Now, if he goes for check, this is actually winning. f2 is winning, and I calculated that. But here, apparently, he has rook a2, and you're gonna see why this move is very, very valuable later. Because now here he played rook c2, and this is losing. And you're gonna ask yourself, well, what is the difference between these two squares? Or rook b2. Now I played this move, and when he checks me, king e3, and when he checks me again, king e4, and when he checks me again, now king d3. Now he doesn't have any more checks. If you go back to this move, rook a2, if I play the same thing, now he just has checks. Here he has an infinite amount of checks, because if I get too far, he takes, and now I'm drawing. I'm not losing, but I'm drawing, because it's impossible to keep this pawn. My king is way too far away, and also his king is in very, very good position to stop this. This is a theoretical draw. I cannot win this. But instead, rook c2 just allows me to block, and now he takes a pawn, but now it's just too late. f2, and I mean, that's it. He tries rook f4, but now just king e2, and after he gives me a check here, if I go king f1, even this is winning, and I calculated this originally, but then I just saw that I can play king f3, and now it's completely over. He actually played rook e7, which allows just mate in 2, but here he resigned. Anyways, this was a pretty okay game. Like, going back to the beginning, I definitely should have won this game here, but then I should have also lost the game. Okay, let's say maybe this was a little bit complicated. I should have lost the game about here. Like, yeah, here should have went just back at some point, like just rook d1, and then I would have been lost. And then again, I should have won the game again with just bishop e7, and I would have been winning, right? Because you cannot guard all of them pawns, and my king would have made it to the pawn. And then again, here in the end game, I had many chances to get a much cleaner victory. But I'm proud of myself that I pushed really hard. And even though, you know, I had many setbacks and I played very poorly up until the very end, literally up until the last 5 moves, basically, I still won the game, and that's what matters at the end of the day. So I'm getting closer to 2100. I'm actually 2098 now, almost 2100, and I'm gonna make a video when I'm gonna hit 2100, obviously. Until then, I'll see you all in the next one. Kowalsky out.